And joining me now is Afua Osei from Nigeria. She's the co-founder of She Leads Africa, an online community that helps young African women reach their professional goals. Afua Osei, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, tell us a little bit more about She Leads Africa.
It is a platform for young African women who want to do more. Young women today are spending 8, 10, 12 hours of their lives focused on careers and their businesses. And when we looked out into the media landscape, there's so much content focused on fashion and food, and those are fantastic areas. But what about all that time we're spending at work? So we wanted to create a platform and a media space for young women to learn, to be inspired, to connect with their peers on topics that really matter to them around their businesses and careers. And it's been an incredible journey. I'm reaching women all across the continent and diaspora to help encourage them to see the possibilities that exist as professional women.
So what are the specific issues that young African women have as opposed to young women elsewhere in the world?
I think that the main issue that we've seen is that for many young women, this is the first time that anyone in their house or in their lives is going into the professional workforce in this structured way, right? The going into the office, the 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. thing, the how to negotiate with your boss for a pay raise, how do you climb that corporate ladder, how do you find investors for your business? I think women have been working for centuries, but this construct, it's very new. This revolution of sorts is very new to many young women. So you don't have a big sister or an auntie, or you can't ask your mom for advice. So everyone's really navigating it on their own and by themselves. And sometimes people are able to figure it out, or they find a godfather who can help them. But if you're not lucky enough to have those resources, you can definitely feel lost, or as if you're doing it all alone. And that's the problem that we're really trying to solve.
There are more than 40 countries represented at this summit, but we're surrounded by predominantly women. Getting men on board is essential, but is that very difficult in African countries where the cultures are particularly conservative and traditional?
It's so funny because I think my dad is a very traditional man, but he always encouraged his daughters to go out there and be independent and to be resourceful and to be able to create something for themselves. And so there definitely is a disconnect between the feelings that individuals have for their families, let's say a daughter and her father, versus what we're seeing in policy and in broader society and culture. I think a great way to change the conversation is to show how it impacts and benefits all. It's not one person taking away something to give to someone else. It's how can we all benefit in increasing the pie for everyone. I think secondly, it's really about putting pressure on those policies and institutions that are designed to hold people back. I mean, maybe they don't think they are designed, but that's what they're doing. You know, for us, when we're looking at entrepreneurs and a bank says that you have to have this type of collateral, or, you know, your father or husband has to sign a bank loan for you, that's an official policy that needs to be torn down. So it's bringing awareness to them and letting people know that this needs to be changed, but we can all benefit from it. But it definitely will take time and more work from both sides, and for all interested parties to be involved.
Mobile technology in Africa is clearly helping young women get a start in business, but should governments be doing more in order to boost their numbers?
Definitely. We've seen the data, and it shows that in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, women are using the internet and they're using mobile technology to learn. They're using it to stay aware of news and information. They're using it to find business opportunities. So it's such a great tool and opportunity. And government can play a part in making sure that data is affordable. Right? Data is so expensive. I'm really happy to be in Morocco because it's much cheaper than in the countries that I've come from. So how can we work with telecommunication providers, with government tech policies to make sure that it's affordable and accessible for all? There's also something around pushing content in local languages. And what are we teaching, like educational content? Does it have to be in English, French, or Portuguese? Or why can't it be in Wolof or Twi or Yoruba, or any of these many local languages that can make it easier for people to get comfortable with mobile technology? So I think it requires policymakers to really think about how can we use tech for good and to advance the goals and the agenda that they have for their people.
So what piece of advice would you give a young woman who's starting her own company?
The first thing I'd give them is a reality check. This is very hard. And I know that the commentary and what we see on TV and in media is that it's so fun and exciting, but it's actually very challenging. And it can be very lonely at times. So one, finding a partner or a support system your family, a local entrepreneurship community where you live, to help you remember the big picture and what you're doing this for. And hopefully it's to solve a problem in your community or in your city or your country and to help keep you focused. I say secondly, you definitely need to have thick skin. People have been saying no to me since 2014, right? And I keep going back and I keep pushing them because that persistence will help set you apart from anyone else who's out there and trying to build their business.
Afua Osei, it's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.